reason for removing herself from competition. We'll have more on this topic during the show. The U.S. finished second to the Russian Olympic Committee in those team finals. The U.S. softball squad lost the gold medal game to Japan 2-0, taking the silver. This was the first year since 2008 that the sport was contested in the games. Japan was the winner the last time the event was held. Softball will not be a part of the 2024 games in France. The U.S. women's soccer team played to a 0-0 draw with Australia. That makes 2 of the 3 matches so far that the U.S. has been held scoreless. They have, however, advanced out of pool play into the knockout phase. They'll tango with the Netherlands on Friday. The U.S. women's volleyball squad swept Japan in their second match of the tournament. They're 2-0. They'll face Turkey next. The U.S. now leads the medal count with 25 total medals to China's 21. Japan has the most golds with 10. Husker outside linebacker JoJo Domann has been put on the watch list for the Nagurski Trophy, given annually to the top defensive player in the country. Domann had a team-high 58 tackles last season with 6.5 for a loss. Nebraska's Fan Day coming up on Thursday. The event will take place from 5:30 to 7:30 inside of Memorial Stadium. Major League Baseball all under the lights tonight. Games just getting underway. The Nationals in Philadelphia to take on the Phillies. The Marlins in Baltimore to battle the Birds. The Brewers in Pittsburgh. The Brewers without Christian Yelich, who tested positive for COVID yesterday. He'll be out for at least 10 days. St. Louis in Cleveland to battle the Indians. And the Yankees down in Tampa to tango with the Rays, with Atlanta in New York battling the Mets. Games later tonight, the Blue Jays and the Red Sox will tangle in Boston. The Reds in Chicago to match up with the Cubs. The D-backs in Texas to take on the Rangers. It'll be Detroit in Minnesota to face the Twins. The Rockies out in Anaheim to tangle with the Angels. It'll be the Dodgers and Giants playing this time in San Francisco. Oakland and San Diego to battle the Padres. The Royals hosting the White Sox. Kansas City going for their 7th straight. The Astros in Seattle to take on the Mariners. Those are the day's headlines. I'm Greg Sharpe.
Live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network, bringing you the best Husker sports experience.
Kubik sends it past me, Gonzalez. It's over the net. Shut back by Stivrins. It's in. They did it. Match point, Big Red. 15-10 in the 5th. Fighting back from the abyss, down 2 sets love. Nebraska claims opening night against Ohio State. 15-10 set 5. My goodness.
Lauren Stivrins is a great leader, and Lauren was talking to those guys through when we were struggling, and she got them to change their mindset. And then I think Lexi led the way, and Nicklin, and so those are the guys that got to do that. Then it was fun to watch. We played Husker volleyball.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down. Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Man, what a way to wake up today, Jessica. To just bombs coming out of Tokyo, this news.
I know. Crazy. All day it's been crazy. And what was absolutely mind-blowing is that at the same time, 2 of the teams that everybody thought going in, was rooting for, thought was maybe a sure deal, softball and gymnastics, kind of crumbling in the gold medal matches and competitions.
Simone Biles certainly is the biggest name of these Olympic Games, and I think some of the weight of that jumped on here. And we are going to have on later in the program Dr. Brett Woods, who's an assistant director of psychology for Husker Athletics, to come join us to talk about the pressure that these athletes face. And she tweeted something yesterday about she felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. And obviously after the one vault, she kind of walked off the mat, shaking her head a little bit, telling her teammates, I'm fine. I'm not hurt. I just don't think I can do this today.
Yeah, she's the best vaulter in the world, hands down, and has done some stuff that nobody in the world not only could they not do, but probably would not even try to do, right? So she did a Yurchenko 1.5. Not that I'm a gymnastics guru by any means, but she normally does 2.5. And when I was watching, the commentators were saying that it looked like she got lost in the air while she was spinning. And then she took a big step, and I think that really shook her. She said after warm-ups, she, couldn't take a nap. She felt anxious, uneasy all day, and she had never felt this way leading up to a competition. The team doctors were telling her, you're fine, you're going to be okay, and she just knew she was not going to be okay. And, kudos to her for, knowing that she wasn't going to be okay and speaking up and standing firm in that, because the Team USA has a lot of talent, and she had confidence and faith that, they could still perform. And she didn't want to cost them a medal, because all those scores count in that competition. So if she would, have gone to the parallel bars and fell off or whatnot, or fell off the beam, that cost them maybe not only just silver, bronze, but a medal altogether. So the fact that she knew, she had confidence, and then she stayed put, cheered on her teams, was right there. But you got to think, for those girls looking up, this is the greatest to ever do it. And then for her to suddenly back out, that had to shake them.
Yeah, there's no way. It disrupts your whole rhythm, your whole mindset. And yes, somebody else probably is capable of doing all the exercises and doing it really well on a high level, but your mindset's completely thrown off.
Yeah.
So you just knew that they probably weren't going to be able to tangle with the gold. There certainly has been, and I think we're getting better, a stigma around mental illness, mental health. But I think the bottom line, and I hope Dr. Woods can shed some light on this too, is that it's easy to see somebody with a bum knee or a bad ankle or a bad shoulder. That you get, you understand. But when you're battling demons in your head, isn't as apparent to people, but it should be. You should understand that and recognize that. And I think today's a great lesson for all of us to learn. I think it's a great teaching moment for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And you look at the sport of gymnastics, it's a sport that's known in the history, even up until, a couple of years ago, for being one that operates where, the coaches and the people running the show, it's you kind of operate in fear, it's intimidation, and they don't speak up, they do what they're told. And for her to feel confident, and she knows that, you want to talk about another weight of the world, she knows she's going to help change how Team USA and USA Gymnastics moves forward. And for her to speak up and say, I can't do this, that would have never happened 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, certainly not, 15, 20 years ago. So the way that the sport is changing as well, I think that's big. But, she is... You also think about her age. She's 24, and that's not that old. But in gymnastics, it is. Right. And what she was doing 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, nobody else was doing. She was fearless and was able to throw some things that nobody else could do, and she would do because she was fearless. But she talked about how the older that she got, and she realizes the danger of what she's doing. And if she's not right, she didn't want to go hurt herself or hurt anybody else for that matter.
I have so much respect for her to be able to go to the press conference afterwards and answer questions.
Absolutely, yeah.
She didn't hide by it. She went out, she said what happened, why she left the competition, and I just gained so much respect for her. And you contrast that from a couple of months ago with Naomi Osaka, the great tennis player who's won several majors, who didn't go to a press conference after a match at the French Open in Paris back in early June, and then withdrew from the tournament the next day, fighting some of the same things that Simone was fighting, but she didn't stand up for it. So Simone, the ability for her to go verbalize what she was dealing with, I just can't tell you how much respect I have for her for doing that. And
here's the thing, too, that I don't think people are taking into consideration much. She was very much a part of everything that happened with the Larry Nassar scandal and, has spoken up about that. So everything that she's been having to deal with and battle over the last 8 years, 6 years, it's a lot to carry. And then you talk about all these expectations put on her, and then her knowing that she's getting to the point where she can't do what she's always been able to do. And everybody still expects her to continue to do that. And then I couldn't imagine all that pressure. And then, as we've talked about, social media and people coming after her. And, the comparing her to Carrie Scruggs situation in Atlanta in 96, it's different.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So she's done so much for this country. And I think it was big for her to say, I am not at my best. I can't do this.
Right.
We have people that are capable of doing this. Let's move forward. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to cheer my teammates on.
She didn't look right at the trials back in early July. She was misstepping. She was missing things. And then she didn't look right the other day in the qualifying round. She missed some dismounts. You just knew she wasn't quite right, and she knew she wasn't quite right. I think that all added up in there together. But good for her for standing up and telling us what was going on. I think it's incredible.
I do too. And it'll be interesting to see, when she comes out with the decision on if she's going to compete in the all-around. And I think, too, a big part of, I think she will be more than likely, compete in that and come back and try to, compete in the all-around. But that's on her. It's like it's probably a lot less pressure if she's cost herself a gold medal, where if she costs a team and a country a gold medal in the team competition.
Let's talk about our business a little bit, because NBC was getting criticized today because all this was going on at about 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. our time. So in the East Coast, it was 7:30, which is where a chunk of our population, our country is. NBC on their main channel didn't go to it. And they're getting a lot of pushback like, come on, put that out there. That's the biggest story in the world right now, and you're holding it for prime time tonight. Your thoughts about that?
Well, and the thing is, they were on the air for their morning show at the time.
The
They were
Today
doing
Show,
reports
right?
from
Yep.
their, Hoda was on there reporting that,
I'm looking at her, I'm seeing her.
you know, she got pulled. There's a buzz around the arena and all that kind of stuff, but we didn't show it at all. And there was a lot of criticism that they didn't show the Team USA men's basketball loss either, because they came back from behind. A lot of people don't subscribe to that.
That was on Peacock?
Yeah.
Isn't that what that is, that streaming service?
Yeah. So, and, you know, NBC, because for a long time there was no streaming, and so you just had to wait for prime time.
Right.
But those days are over. You got to like stay up to date. That's why I, you know, have been getting up early to try to watch these things, because otherwise social media is going to spoil it for you. And that's why live sports still is going to be the king.
Well, and they've been putting things on USA Network, on the NBC Sports Channel. You have access to other things. So if you don't want to spoil it on your main NBC channel, that's fine. But you have other options. And I think this is the last time that this is going to happen at the Olympics. I think they're going to learn their lesson. Like, if it's going, we got to put it out there somewhere, other than just their streaming service.
Yeah, and think about the numbers. I get it. It was at 5 a.m, whatever. But the numbers, the ratings that would get. Now everybody knows what's happened.
Absolutely.
They'll probably tune in to see. But like, you know, you got to think everybody's turning that channel as soon as that news broke.
Absolutely. The next games, the next summer games are in Paris. They're like 5 hours ahead of us, maybe 6. They're going to have to rethink their model, I think, in 2024 for that. Heck, the winter games are in 6 months.
Wow,
How about that? They're in February in Beijing.
Crazy.
But yeah, NBC took a lot of criticism, and I'm okay with that, because I'm like, yeah, this is a day and age where if it's live and it's going with social media and all the access points for us to find out what took place during the day, I think they got to rethink
Put
that.
it on over the Today Show. Like,
Why not?
You know?
And I get it. Advertising dollars are bigger at night. I get that. I understand that part of it. And NBC invests a lot of money in this thing, and they try to recoup it with their advertising. But this was a major story that needed coverage right then and there.
And you know, another thing that we had talked about leading into the Olympics, how it would affect things, the crowd not being there. Simone addressed that about how usually it's you feed off of that, and there's a lot of buzz, and she responds to that crowd cheering for her, and it's been quiet. And I noticed that in the qualifying round that they didn't seem like they were having fun. And a lot of times with this Team USA gymnastics team, you're watching them enjoy themselves. They're having fun. They're smiling. They're laughing. And it seemed like there was a lot of pressure, not just on Simone, but this whole team. And then with no crowd to feed off of, nobody cheering you on. And they feed off in their floor routine when you're, going for a big tumbling pass and you hear the crowd just roaring. They love that. And there's nothing. It's just like a practice, and that's hard to get up for.
You and I talked about it a week ago. How would not having fans affect these athletes? And I think it certainly has. We've got USA Volleyball on right now. It's on one of the channels. Soccer on another one. In these empty stadiums, it's just a different thing. And the Olympic trials for gymnastics, they did have an audience. It was in St. Louis. They had big crowds for them to get fired up. All right, that's one big story. The other one is the continuation of the Oklahoma-Texas story. They did both file paperwork today with the SEC. So their request to join and seek an invitation starting July 1st, 2025. So they did file that. The SEC acknowledged that with a statement from Commissioner Greg Sankey, who, Jessica, wanted to quickly point out that they did not actively seek these two schools, that these two universities came to them with this proposal. So Sankey wanted to get that out there for everybody to know.
I still am just flabbergasted that this was able to keep quiet for so long. And Bob Bowlesby came out with a statement that said basically they were shocked by it, and it's clear that this has been going on behind closed doors for quite some time. And the SEC knew about it. Absolutely, they knew about it. And look no further than the Longhorn Network and everything that's too many things are in place for it to happen so quickly once the news broke.
And once you find out how many things are in place, and we speculated the other day that ESPN was in the middle of that, and I think there's now becoming some documentation that they sure were. That's a lot of people that kept this thing quiet for months at a time.
Crazy. And just the way that Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, how the state has been kind of in an uproar a little bit.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State not happy, but I think this could be good for them. They could go maybe, potentially if the Big 12 stays together. Iowa State as well. You're going to be competing against Oklahoma and Texas every year, which Texas hasn't, been as competitive. But now you got a shot to go win that league. And with the 12-team playoff expanding, it could be good for you.
Sure could. I think that'll be the key for the 8 that are left behind. Can they stay together and then go pick off a Cincinnati or something and get their conference to 10 or 12? That's the challenge for Bob Bowlesby, the Big 12 commissioner, moving forward. Can he keep the other 8 together? That's going to be a challenge for him. Bob Stoops, a former Oklahoma coach, now a commentator for Fox Sports, has written an op-ed in the Tulsa paper saying what a great move this is for the University of Oklahoma. How do you think that's going to play?
I think people will listen to that. I think Bob Stoops still carries a lot of respect, and he did it for a long time. And, I think everybody is aware that college football is changing and changing quickly. And while we don't know where and how it's changing, it's coming. And the proof is in the pudding. The Big 12 has not been a stable league. They haven't been a stable league for quite some time. And you want to put yourself in a position to be in a place when all of these chips and dominoes start to fall, that you're in a stable place. And I think that's what Oklahoma has kind of done, or Oklahoma and Texas are trying to do with this move.
Yeah, definitely a kind of a PR battle to get Stoops to write the op-ed and get it out there. Oklahoma knows that they've scalded some people inside that Sooner State.
Yeah, it was definitely, hey, can you help fix this for us?
Right, yeah. Let's put a positive spin on this. The SEC conference presidents and chancellors have scheduled a meeting for Thursday to discuss adding Texas and Oklahoma to the league. We talked about it last week that they need at least 11 positive votes out of their 14 members to approve expansion to move on. Most people think that there could be some no's, but not enough to stop the addition of Texas and Oklahoma. Then we'll start to get into the minutia of how soon does this flip. I don't think there's any way that this does not start until July of 2025. I think it's way before that. But you certainly know lawyers are going to get involved in this whole thing and move forward. So those are two of the bigger stories of the day. Softball did not win the gold medal. They just couldn't score, Jessica, and we talked about it a couple times. They just had trouble scoring runs in the whole tournament.
They scored 9 runs. 4 of those came in extra innings. Wow. When you have a runner on second for the international rules. So they needed some bats, and I think there's been some criticism of how they put that team together. They needed some more offensive firepower. Defensively, they were solid. The pitching, obviously, kudos. I was kind of worried about the pitching going in. How in the world could Monica Abbott and Kat Osterman continue to do what they've always done? But they were incredible. Oh, you feel so bad for Monica Abbott that, she was the losing pitcher against Japan, and then here again. And Kat Osterman did some interviews, and she was just heartbroken, crying. Yeah. Can you imagine, that's your livelihood. You've been the best at your sport. You get yourself up to retire, which is hard to do anyways. You retire, you come out of retirement to go win a gold medal, and then it just, you come up short. It's just devastating. The
other thing was the U.S. women's soccer team, again, not scoring goals. They didn't lose. They tied with Australia. So in pool play, they go 1 win, 1 loss, 1 tie. They get 4 points, which is just enough to get them out of pool play. They're in the knockout phase. Our Friday 5, I asked you, do they still come back and win the gold? You want to change your answer yet on that?
No, I think I'm still going to stick with it. I have faith in USA Soccer.
Well, they're going to have a tough haul. They start the knockout phase, which is the quarterfinal round with the Netherlands on Friday. They're replaying that match with Australia from earlier today right now on USA. If you want to go back and watch That's a good promo. Go watch a 0-0 tie. That's probably going to draw them in for that tonight.
You should have just said they're in penalty kicks and the crowd is not going wild.
So that's another huge surprise why that team is struggling right now at the Olympic Games.
It's the teams that you go into it and everybody's like, USA Soccer, that's a gold medal.
Right.
USA Gymnastics, that's a gold medal.
Right.
USA Softball, that's a gold medal.
Although I'm not sure that's a huge upset.
Yeah, Japan is solid, and they've been solid, and obviously that was the team that knocked them out the last go-around at that 13 years ago, but I think a lot of people thought that they were going to get revenge on that and bounce back and get that gold this year, and it seemed like that's what United States thought, but around the world, Japan sure didn't feel like they were the underdog.
All right, here's what we have on the program tonight. Husker basketball made some players available today. Alonzo Verge, who is the transfer from Arizona State. Jessica had a chance to catch up with him. We'll get to that here in a little bit. This was a guy that was a really good player for the Sun Devils. thought about going pro, instead decided to take advantage of the transfer rule. The Huskers jumped right in there. Fred Hoiberg and staff did a great job convincing him to be a Cornhusker, and he immediately becomes one of the top players on this Nebraska team going into this upcoming season. We're going to hear from him here in a little bit. Also, we're going to talk to some of the newest Husker volleyball stars, Allie Batenhorst, Lexi Rodriguez, and Lindsay Krause, who just got back from Europe. They played in an international U20 tournament over there for Team USA. They're about ready to jump into their first full season with the Cornhuskers. We're going to hear from them coming up at the top of hour number 2. And then Dr. Brett Woods, Assistant Director of Psychology, will be here. We'll talk about a thing that's really become big in sports, and that is putting the mental coaches in place to work with student athletes, work with professional athletes. A lot of these top athletes now, even at the professional level, Jessica, have a team of people, including a sports psychologist. It's become a big thing for pro sports.
And again, it's something that a lot of athletes didn't feel comfortable talking about, but it's been something that people have battled and athletes have battled. It just hasn't been okay to talk about. And the more that you talk about it and it becomes okay to talk about, the more you hear about some of the stories of people battling through some of these things and some of the depression. And it's just it's not easy. I did a story at Oklahoma on a pitcher who, long story short, was on the verge of, being in a very, very, very dark place, and started seeing a psychologist at the pros office there, and came out of it. And his mom was talking about how bad of a place that her son was in, and she's sitting in the stands and they're yelling at him, throw a strike. You just never know what people are going through when they step off the field. And, the way that they have people in place now to help them work through some of those things is huge.
Absolutely it is. As I said at the top, physical injuries are very apparent. Ones that are of the mental kind are harder to pick out and harder for people, I think, even to accept. Hopefully we continue to change that narrative moving forward. All right, if you want to be a part of the show with a call or text, 402-413-2400. If you want to call us, that's on our Sports Sunday hotline, brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. We're back with more of the show next.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Experience the highest levels of luxury at Woodhouse Lincoln, the Metro's exclusive Lincoln dealer. Our dedicated sales team is ready to guide you to your perfect vehicle. With a lineup of unique crossovers and SUVs, Lincoln offers insightful technologies, connectivity, and interior amenities, while you experience the highest sales satisfaction among all luxury brands. Visit Woodhouse Lincoln at 144th and Giles Road or online at woodhouselincoln.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
Back to Adventures in Technology. Look away! A runaway train of IT problems is bearing down on our brave IT hero. But wait! It's Marco's Technology Assessment to the rescue with life-saving IT strategies. Our hero's technology issues are derailed. A tip of the hat to Marco. And our hero rides into the virtual sunset of our WebEx background. For more successful IT adventures, go to marconet.com.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card. Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
Buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you here on a Tuesday night of Sports Night here on the Husker Sports Network. Husker basketball made a handful of players available to the media today. They're about ready to bolt. That team, like we told you, football's been kind of gone for the last 10 days. Basketball will be exiting the premises here in Lincoln for the next couple of weeks. So this is kind of their last week in town to do some workouts with the coaches. And I know a lot of buzz around Alonzo Verge, who was at Arizona State last year, a very good scorer for the Sun Devils. Could have gone pro, Jessica, but this guy's now going to be a Husker.
Yeah, he was one of the hottest names in the transfer portal and on a lot of people's lists is the top transfer right before he committed here in June. So that it was a big get. And we talk about it, but just the need for them needing a point guard with Delano Blanton declaring for the draft. But he wanted to come to a place that's going to set him up to get to the next level. And we're hearing that a lot from these players. And I think that's why recruiting is going so well. It's not just Fred Hoiberg that has NBA experience. Almost his entire staff has experience in the NBA. Right. So that's a big sell for guys. They want to come and be able to be prepared for the next level, and that's the way to do it, right? Those guys understand how to get there.
And the Hoiberg style, it really does lead itself. It's a lot of spacing of the floor that the NBA likes to run. So guys see that, and they're hearing that. Now let's just hope it leads to a lot of wins. What about this young man?
2 weeks in, how would you describe so far your time as a Husker in these last 2 weeks?
It's been real interesting. I could say that. Just getting adjusted, just learning the other guys and just creating a bond with them. Just trying to get that relationship with all the guys that I've missed. So I feel like that's very important. That's something I've been doing a lot, and just it's been good. Coaching. The coaching staff have been treating me very well, even the managers too. So everybody's been showing me open arms.
You were one of the hottest names in the transfer portal when you decided to come to Nebraska. Everybody was so excited about it. You could have gone to a number of different places. Can you take us through your decision and why you settled on Nebraska?
First of all, Coach has a record of doing very good with transfers. So I took that into heed. And he's played in the NBA. That's somewhere where I want to be. So those are two very things that stood out to me right away. And, just gaining that relationship with Coach and Matt over the time they've been recruiting me, I felt like it was genuine and like a family-oriented type of system. And that's something that I wanted. And I go by vibes, and it just was a good vibe and felt like honesty. So I just went with my heart.
That's awesome. Why did you feel like what you are as a player, your style would fit what they're doing here?
Like Coach likes to run the floor, and that's something that's one of my strengths is when I get a rebound, I can go on a break and just go. And it's a lot of spacing on the floor to where I can create for my teammates. And just the style of play is my type of game.
So day one, first practice, you broke Twitter. You took, Husker Nation by storm with the behind-the-back pass and finish. What was that like for you that's your first day and to get that kind of reception?
It was fun. It was fun. I just wanted to set a statement, really. I didn't know I was going to end up doing that pass, but it just happened. So I just took what they gave me. I just love playing basketball, so it was something exciting. I was already had jitters because I was ready to play so bad, so I was happy to get that out.
You seem pretty chill right here talking, but everybody has described you as a high-energy guy, that you bring the energy. I mean, I've heard it from multiple people. Why is that important for you to do?
Cause I'm an older guy. Some guys, we have young guys come in on the Mondays and days they don't want to practice, and I just bring that energy and bring that that extra voice that they need instead of hearing it from the coaches and other guys that's not their peers, kind of. So I feel like it sounds better coming from me, and just try to push my team. That's where I really do it, and just try to motivate them and get them going.
Have you always been an energy guy?
Yeah, that's how I've always been. Just a very vocal leader on the floor. That's how I always played. And that's how I express myself through basketball too as well. So.
Where does that come from, that energy?
I don't know, cause I'm like this off the court. I'm just very relaxed and chill. But when I get on the court, I just let loose, kinda. And it's kind of weird too, cause that's what I like. I don't know how to explain it though, but I just kind of just let everything out. And when I was younger, my mom, she actually, when I couldn't curse in front of her, the only place she would let me curse is on the court. So I just let out everything on the court. That's how I let out my everything, so yeah.
So you talked about coming in and trying to fit in. There's a lot of new guys and a lot of people trying to work out the chemistry here. How do you do that from your end of it to try to fit in and kind of help build the chemistry?
Just being consistent, working hard, and just leading by example, not always trying to talk, and just lead by example on the court, do the right things on the court so those guys can actually they don't have nothing to say when I try to tell them, we got to do this, we got to do that. So just handling my part is my biggest thing. That's how I'm going to get the other guys to fall in line, by just doing what I have to do. So
you're taking on a big responsibility running the team at the point, but it seems like you got some weapons to get the ball to. How exciting is that for you?
That's very exciting. It's very fun to play with other players that's high level. So and I want to win. So that's something that I'm excited for. Bryce, very young guy coming in, can shoot the ball, handle the ball. Trey, his brother, got a great IQ, can jump very well. And we got Derek, just vocal, big guy on the floor. And we got CJ as well, can shoot the ball, a big body on the court. We have a lot of guys that could do different things, so I'm very excited to see what we do.
I read something about, your progression as your consistency on the outside shooter, that you've been able to get to the rim, but you've really worked hard at kind of developing, your outside game. How has that kind of progressed along where you've been able to develop the ability to score at all three levels?
It's progressed it a lot, because I actually, before I went to D1, I always shot the three very well, but I struggled a lot when I got to the next level. And that's something that I've just been focused on over this summer while working out, and at Impact over the summer in Vegas, I was working out, and that's something I focused on a lot, just my shot and, just techniques and things like that. And also Coach been helping me too as well. So I'm not trying to change too much, just slightly, just change a little bit, tweaks here and there.
So for fans that might be listening or watching, what are they going to see from Alonzo Verge on the basketball court?
You're going to see a lot of energy, a lot of buckets, a lot of dimes, just somebody that's willing to put it all on the floor for their team, and Nebraska as well. So. And
I'm sure you've heard about the fan support here. How excited are you to get, in front of a probably a sellout crowd every single night.
I'm very excited. I want to show them guys. I want to show everybody what we got this year. So yeah.
You excited about what you got out here?
Absolutely.
Seems like there's a lot of excitement around this basketball team. I got to go to my first practice today, and I was really impressed with just the way that Coach Hoiberg, manages practice and the coaching staff. They're involved in talking, and I think this is a team. They're working out the chemistry, right? And last night at the golf tournament, I had asked Coach Hoiberg about this, but you've seen the boxing and the top golf and and the cycling and the things that they're doing outside of the gym is that has a purpose to try to build chemistry when you've got to kind of figure that out with so many new guys and new faces and working in those new faces.
Yeah, it was great to hear from him last night. He should be encouraged. There's some parts to work with. How good will this team be? I don't know. I think we're going to have to hold reserve judgment until we see it, but I think he's got more parts to work with than he did in year 1 and 2. And they're getting to practice right now, which last year they weren't able to do that at this point in time.
Yeah, for sure. And so Alonzo's playing the point, or was today, and so when we talked to Trey McGowan's the other day, and how they're just so unselfish. They'll play wherever they need to play, and it seems like there's a lot of guys that are bought in to wherever you need me to do it and wherever you need me to be on the court, and I'm going to do what I need to do to win. That's the big thing. They all want to win, and so they're going to and that's so important, is you got guys that are not so worried about, hey, I got to get to the NBA and I got to do this for me and I got to score this, and it seems like right now, and it's the summer and still got a ways to go, but when you've got guys that are willing to kind of move around and wherever I fit best to help this team win.
And that's part of the system too, Jessica. I mean, Fred will say, yeah, he's kind of a point guard, but we rotate the guys through. The 2 may have to be the 1 on a couple of possessions, and the 3 may have to be the 1 on a couple of possessions. That's kind of the beauty of his offense. It's going to be fascinating to watch him put this thing together.
And you heard him talking about Keisha last night, and he gets excited that apparently he can shoot the ball pretty well.
He did it at the junior college level, and he did it really well in that 3-on-3. His team did get eliminated today over in the 3-on-3. I'm with you. I love that competition that's been going on. All right, need to step aside, get a break in. Time if you want to be a part of the show, either with a call or a text, 402-413-2400 if you have some thoughts about any of the topics of the day. Back with more of the show coming up.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Stay up to date with the most current and latest news by following the Huskers on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and more. These social media homes provide the fastest daily updates on everything surrounding Nebraska athletics, including game times, results, ticket promotions, prize giveaways, and more. Log on to also follow several sport-specific pages and Husker head coaches. Join today and interact with thousands of Husker fans around the world. Visit huskers.com/social media to see all of our accounts. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Touchdown, Nebraska!
If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics.
Kaboom! Wow!
You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, radio advertising, digital and social media, and more.
Got it!
Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard. And thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. With a combination of strong academics and affordability, UNL offers an excellent educational value. This year, the university was named one of the Princeton Review's best value colleges. And the new Nebraska Promise and Career Scholarship programs are connecting more hardworking Huskers with financial help so they can pursue their dreams.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Greg Sharpe Jessica Coody with you here on a Tuesday night. Here are the numbers if you want to be a part of the program. 402-413-2400 with a call or a text. You mentioned this a few moments ago, just kind of in passing, and I'd forgotten. We have the NBA draft in 2 days.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about something that's kind of gotten lost with all the Olympics and all this stuff. The draft's in 2 days.
Oh, yeah. It's coming up, and I don't necessarily always get like too hype about the draft, but yeah, it'll be interesting this year to see where Delano goes and if he gets a shot.
I don't think he gets drafted. I think he'll get invited to a camp and see if he can make his way into it. But I find it hard to believe that he would get drafted.
It kind of seems to be the consensus that maybe he'll just get like a training camp and see where it goes from there.
Maybe go to the G League and develop his game in the G League, which I think the G League has been good for the NBA. I think it's also maybe swayed some kids instead of just doing the one and done thing. If you don't want to go to school, but you just want to be a basketball player, go to that, make a little bit of money, and work on your game.
That's where the NIL thing I think will be huge for some of these kids. That if you're on the fringe, maybe getting drafted, you got to probably be a pretty good college basketball player, which means you're probably a little bit popular right, in wherever your college town is. Maybe you have a chance to make a little money to get you by, and try to develop for another year and get more prepared, or whoever, with the new strength coach that just got here to Nebraska. Who knows what could have happened if he would have stuck around another year and got to work out a little bit. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see, but I do think, because there's a lot of young men who don't want to go to college. They don't want to carry a backpack. They don't want to go sit in a classroom. They want to play basketball. And so give them that option. That's been the beauty to me of baseball, because if you want to leave high school and go ride buses and go to play minor league baseball, you can do that. But if you go to school, you got to get locked in for 3 years. I hope that I've always wanted college basketball to follow that blueprint. They won't and probably never will. But, draft in 2 days. I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, it's been with the Olympics, and then it's all day kind of, I feel like, because you get up and then you're watching Olympics and you're trying to figure out what you missed, and then it's okay. Yeah.
Well, and conference expand with the Texas-Oklahoma thing. I mean, it sucked a lot of air out of things.
Well, and not to mention, football starts on Friday, and we got a lot going on around that. So
NFL camps are opening.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers showed up today.
Aaron Rodgers news.
How about that? All that
got a
talk.
long flowing hairdo going on.
He sure did. Looked a little bit like a guy that was kind of trying to bum a ride from somebody walking into the Packers camp. But how about that, Jessica? All the talk, think about how many hours of ESPN programming over the last 6 months has dealt with Aaron Rodgers. And there he is on day one of camp. He's there.
Yeah. What would they have done without that storyline to talk about? But Yeah, it was so over the top. I got so over hearing about it. And then we're over analyzing everything that one of his teammates said or didn't say. And, this personnel person and coach, GM and all, and guys before me that used to play for him. And it was a lot. But
he played in that exhibition golf thing a few weeks ago with Mickelson and wasn't it Bryson and
Tom.
They talked about that that whole 3 or 4 hour golf event, and now there he is, day one.
And I knew he was going to be there. I think everybody knew he was going to be there.
Yeah.
So
what do the Texans do with Deshaun Watson? Isn't that a messy story?
Very messy.
He showed up at camp because he doesn't want to get fined. There's no way they play him, do they?
You can't. You can't. I mean, not at this point. There's so many accusations. Until that gets worked out, you cannot get caught up in that.
Unbelievable. That story and the Trevor Bauer story. And Trevor Bauer just got suspended again, and rightfully so. There's no way the Dodgers can run him out of the mound with all that hanging over him. And that is just, I've told you before, that story makes my skin crawl thinking about that whole deal. All right, I need to take a break. Final break of the hour. Still time if you want to be a part of this hour, 402-413-2400, the number to dial us up. How into the Olympics have you been the first couple days? I'd love to get the feeling from the folks out there. I don't know. I can't. Sometimes we live in our little bubble, and we're locked into it because we kind of need to be. But how about you folks? Have you been in? Are you into it? Are you sitting back at night and watching those things? Are you tracking social media during the day? I'd love to get your take next.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Touchdown, Nebraska!
If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics.
Kaboom! Wow!
You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, radio advertising, digital and social media, and more.
Got it!
Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com.
Final few minutes of hour one here of Sports Nightly. 402-413-2400. The number if you want to dot us up with a comment or question or fire off a text, or you can jump into our YouTube chat room, right? That's active.
Yes, we have a few people on the chat. We had a couple questions about, a couple comments about Simone Biles, and then Crypto King, he's a faithful watcher almost every show. He said, you mentioned the NIL. Please, could you guys explain exactly what the NIL and how it works?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've gone over that. I just know some people don't want to. It is confusing. There's no doubt it is, but it's the ability for a student athlete to use their name, their image, or their likeness and profit off of that. So if you want to go, if a T-shirt shop wants to create a uniform replica of your jersey, your number, say you wear the number 7 and your name's on the back, you can go cut a deal and make money off people buying that particular shirt. Or you can go represent a business. You can go be a representative for a business and speak out and say, I like the burgers at Johnny's Joint. And they can compensate you for that. Before this, nobody could do that in college athletics.
They couldn't even, make money or get anything off of their Instagram posts, which everyone else could, or a social media post, anything like that. So that was a big thing as well. But yeah, advertising. But I do think, and you mentioned this in the commercial break, I think it's still going to be a waiting out period between businesses and some of these people. How is it going to go? Trying to figure out what to do with it now that it's here. What is going to be beneficial for my company or my brand? I think we knew it was coming, but now it's how do we utilize this? So I think a lot of people are still trying to fill it out.
Right. Pac-12 Media Days started today, and David Shaw, I've met Coach Shaw a couple of times. He's the head coach at Stanford. He got asked about NIL, name, image, likeness, and was asked about Bryce Young, who is the presumptive starting quarterback at Alabama. He hadn't won the job officially yet. Most people believe he will be. And 2 weeks ago, Nick Saban at the SEC Media Day said, well, Bryce Young, who hadn't even started a game for us yet, approaching 7 figures with his name, image, likeness with a deal. I'm kind of calling it a little bogus on that for Coach Saban, but maybe it's close to that. David Shaw's quote today, Jessica, was, a kid gets a 7-figure deal before he even starts a game. That's fair market value. I don't think that's fair market value. That's Alabama value.
Yeah, I mean, again, who knows if that was a little blown out of proportion a little bit, and in the company that, or wherever, the group of people that Saban was saying that to, which is a group of Texas high school football coaches. It's a little selling point, right?
Sure, it was.
All of this, they have to submit it, right? So yes, it's still kind of a gray area figuring out how this is, but there are rules that you have to submit through Open Doors or wherever it might be. You have to fill out W-2s. You have to do all of the legal things to make this work. You can't just be handed a wad of cash like was happening in the 70s and 80s, supposedly, allegedly, quote unquote.
It was. It was. David Shaw's kind of right, but David Shaw's quote's going to be put on every Alabama recruiting letter that they send out.
Yeah.
There's value and there's Alabama value. Now Alabama's like, thank you, Coach Shaw. You just gave us our recruiting pitch.
See, I took it as Alabama value as, there might be, that might not be legit.
It's being fudged.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
but
there might be some cheating going on there, or that might be some blowing smoke a little bit.
But Bama's going to spin that to their direction. They're going, even the Stanford head coach agrees. We're different. We get it at Alabama. Nobody else can give that to you. You go there.
Yeah. I would be like, well, there's going to be some exploring into that. If he's making $1 million,
right,
you better, that's going to be checked up on from numerous people, from compliance, from all these different departments that are checking up on that. You better be paying your taxes. You better be, if that's a legit number, there's going to be some follow up to that. There's no doubt about it.
On our text line, Kentland says, I'm out on my back deck listening to you guys. What does that tell you about my interest in the Olympics?
Okay.
So not much, I guess.
So sorry we've been talking about it.
Another text we got. I don't trust Texas. Can they change their mind and let Oklahoma leave and stay in the Big 12? I guess. I mean, they got to get approved to join the SEC, which I think that'll happen later this week when the SEC has their conference call. But I think the bridge has been burned. I think Texas and Oklahoma have burned the bridge to the Big 12. Don't you?
Yeah, they're not putting this stuff out there if it wasn't going to be a done deal.
Correct.
The SEC can say whatever they want about, they approached us, but this has been, again, in the works, as we've seen numerous people saying it's been in the works for quite some time. It doesn't just come out and everything falls into place the way that it did without this having been worked on for quite some time.
Right. 6 months at least, I think.
Yeah. There's too many balls in place for this to be moving forward as quickly as it has been. Oklahoma and Texas don't want to stay in the Big 12, and at this point, I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe the schools do, but we'll see.
1 hour in. Come on back.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Did you ever buy something and get more? More than you expected? Emeritus offers insurance, employee benefits, and financial services, but we deliver so much more. The comfort of a human voice when you need it. The confidence of flashing a beautiful smile. The relief that your family can keep living the life they love. The serenity of knowing you've planned well and can enjoy life. That's what we really deliver. We call it fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services, and much more.
Husker fans, the 2021 athletic season marks the beginning of mobile tickets for Husker sporting events. Tickets and parking passes for all sports will be available for download in your ticket account on the official Huskers app. It's a safe and easy way to guarantee your entry into some of the most exciting sporting events around. Simply download your ticket from your ticket account or the Huskers app and save to your mobile phone wallet before you leave home. Scan at the gate and enjoy the game. Go Big Red!
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard, and thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. On May 7th and 8th, Nebraska celebrated its largest May graduating class in university history. 3,594 degrees were awarded to Nebraska graduates in ceremonies at Pinnacle Bank Arena and Memorial Stadium. Along with receiving their diplomas, graduates also heard inspiring speeches from notable Nebraskans, including legendary coach Tom Osborne.
Good evening. I'm Greg Sharpe, and here is tonight's Sports Ticker. The major story out of the Olympics today was about Simone Biles. The U.S. gymnast took herself out of the team competition after one vault. Afterwards, she mentioned the stress of the games and the mental strain as the reason for removing herself from the competition. No word whether she will compete in the individual events later in the week. We'll talk more about this hour with a Nebraska Assistant Director of Psychology. The U.S. ended up finishing second to the Russian Olympic Committee in the team finals. The U.S. softball squad lost their gold medal game to Japan 2-0, so they get the silver. This was the first year since 2008 that the sport was contested in the games. Japan also the winner of the 2008 event. The U.S. women's soccer team played to a 0-0 draw with Australia. That makes two of the three matches so far that the U.S. has been held scoreless. They did, however, advance out of pool play into the knockout phase. They'll tango with the Netherlands on Friday in the quarterfinal round. The U.S. women's volleyball squad swept China in their second match of the tournament. They're 2-0. They'll face Turkey next. The U.S. leads the medal count with 25 total medals. China has 21. Japan, though, with the most golds. They have 10. Husker outside linebacker JoJo Domann has been put on the watch list for the Nagurski Trophy, given annually to the top defensive player in the country. Domann had a team-high 58 tackles last season, with 6.5 of those being for a loss. Nebraska's Fan Day coming up on Thursday. First practice for the Big Red will be on Friday. Checking the Major League Baseball scoreboard, the Nationals have raced out in front of the Phillies 6-1 in the third. Marlins blanking the Orioles 3-0 also in the fourth inning. Milwaukee just hammering Pittsburgh 8-0 Crew in the third inning. The Cardinals won, the Indians nothing. They're in the bottom of the fourth. Braves 6, Mets nothing. That's in the top of the third inning. Yankees, Rays, they are scoreless in the third. Top of the first, Reds and Cubs just getting underway. Same thing with the Royals and the White Sox in Kansas City. Diamondbacks and Rangers about ready to start down in Arlington. They're warming up in Minneapolis with the Twins and Tigers set to get going. Postponement in Boston tonight. Too much wet weather. Red Sox and Blue Jays won't play. The Rockies will tangle with the Angels in about an hour and a half. The Dodgers and Giants will also play later tonight in San Francisco. Same thing with the Athletics in San Diego to take on the Padres and the Astros in Seattle to match up with the Mariners. Those are the day's headlines. I'm Greg Sharpe.
Live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network, bringing you the best Husker sports experience.
Kubik sends it past me, Gonzalez. It's over the net. Shut back by Stivrins. It's in. They did it. Match point, Big Red. 15-10 in the fifth. Fighting back from the abyss, down 2 sets love. Nebraska claims opening night against Ohio State. 15-10 set 5. My goodness.
Lauren Stivrins is a great leader, and Lauren was talking to those guys through when we were struggling, and she got them to change their mindset. And then I think Lexi led the way, and Nicklin, and so those are the guys that got to do that. Then it was fun to watch. We played Husker volleyball.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down. Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of our Tuesday night show. Big hour coming up. We're going to talk to some of the newest members of John Cook's volleyball squad here in a little bit. They just got back from Europe where they competed in the under-20 World Tournament. We'll do that. We'll also talk with Dr. Brett Woods, who's the Assistant Director of Psychology here at the University of Nebraska Athletic Department. We'll talk about mental illness, which is certainly a topic that I'm glad we're going to be able to get into tonight, spurred by the Simone Biles story from earlier today. NBC right now, Jessica, is kind of getting into their coverage from what took place about 13 hours ago.
It's crazy. It's been the biggest story of all day. NBC's moving forward like, hey, this is happening. Yeah. Hey, everybody already knows what's happening, and right. We're gonna go through the entire competition and know exactly what happened. But they just showed warm-ups. I didn't see warm-ups, and she did not look okay. And warm-ups to me just. And we talked about it at the top of the hour, just the no crowd, and it just seems like they're not enjoying competing at the Olympics, and it's just not something that you normally see.
No doubt. Well, something I know Husker fans are anxious to see is that Husker volleyball team here in about a month. They'll get things going. They've got that red-white scrimmage coming up on August 21st, and then the season will begin for them on the 27th of August. And John Cook's squad appears to be loaded, and my goodness, is he welcoming some really talented freshmen into the program.
The #1 recruiting class in the country, and they showed why they are that, because 3 of them selected to compete for Team USA at the Under-20 World Championships. No other college had that kind of representation. So we got a chance to sit down with those 3 Huskers and just kind of at what it was like to compete at the World Championships.
It was an incredible experience, just playing against so many different countries and just learning new things every game. It was just a really high level of volleyball, and it was really cool playing with such great girls.
And Lexi, I was saying that we had fans tweeting in and texting in that they were not tracking dig stats for a while, but what was it like for you? How was the experience?
It was a lot of fun, and I think it was just great to get like some really high competition reps in right before our season. I think it was a great opportunity for us to grow and kind of learn, and so yeah, it was a lot of fun.
What about you, for Lindsay? How was the experience for you?
Oh, it's so much fun. Every single chance like we get to like represent USA, it's so much fun. So yeah, I just love getting to do it.
And what about the 3 of you getting to do it together? How awesome was that experience?
It was crazy. I mean, we were all just so excited that we were going to get to go to the training team just to try out for the team, the 3 of us to all go together and kind of have each other, and then all 3 of us to make the roster. It was super special.
How much pride do you guys take in that, Lexi, that, 3 Huskers, no other college had that kind of representation?
Yeah, we kind of like talked about how we mirrored like Jordan Larson, Kelsey Robinson, and Justine and stuff. So I think it was pretty cool that the 3 of us made it, and it'll make us closer and gives us time to even get even more chemistry together. So I thought it was really cool.
It's awesome. And Allie, we talked to you before you guys got everything underway, and you talked about the competition that you were going to see. What was it like facing so many different teams and that level of competition?
Yeah, I mean, it was really special because moving into season, I think being freshmen, playing against such high-level competition right before going into our freshman year here, I think it'll really help us, and it was just a really cool experience seeing so many different players and some of the best athletes in the world, so it was really cool.
Let's go back to some of your recruiting processes and why you chose Nebraska. Lexi, you guys are all laughing. Why are you laughing?
It was just so long ago.
Yes. Why was this the place for you? Why did you want to call Lincoln your home for your college career?
Well, I came here for like the Dream Team camp, and I ended up committing like the day camp was over. So very fast, and I just literally like fell in love. I remember just like even a few days into camp, I told my mom like I loved it here, and like I would want to play here, like that I wanted to come here. And then so when I got the opportunity, like I just fell in love. The fan base is amazing, and just the community environment that they have, like the family that's here, it's just incredible. And I loved the volleyball part of it, and the coaches and everyone. It was just perfect.
What about for you, Lindsay?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of easy just to call it home because it is home. I'm from Nebraska, and so once I got the offer to come here, it kind of just seemed like a no-brainer. Like, why would I go anywhere else? Like, I have everything I want right in this school, 45 minutes down the road from my house. So, yeah, it just seemed like a no-brainer.
And we kind of talked about this for you, but for those that might have missed it the first time around, take us through your recruiting process.
Yeah, so I was actually born in Omaha, and like 90% of my family lives here. So it kind of always has been home for me, even though I kind of was raised in Texas. So obviously, growing up a Husker fan, it was just always like a thing for me to want to go there. And I think going through the recruiting process, I just kind of just seeing all the different programs and everything, it just felt most at home at Nebraska. And obviously the culture here, like Lexi said, and like the tradition and just the fans and like everything here, it just really was something special that I wanted to be a part of. So
Lindsay, did you grow up coming to matches and inside Devaney?
The very first match I went to, I remember the Huskers lost. I have a memory of it. It was 2015. They lost to Wisconsin. That was the match I came to for the first time. But yeah, I've gone to matches ever since I was a young girl, and so being able to see like Devaney and just how that many people pack into one arena for a volleyball match, which I mean, you see other programs around the country, they don't get that kind of people to watch, and just the fan base we have here. We're such a volleyball state, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, you heard Allie talking about being from the state, and it seems like a lot of fans take a lot of pride when those Nebraska kids stay here. How much pride do you take in that and being able to wear that jersey?
Yeah, I love it, especially because like Nebraska, it's like people are like, "Where's Nebraska?" They don't know what that is, but I mean, like when it talks volleyball, like when volleyball starts, like Nebraska is the place to be, and so I just take a lot of pride in like being from the state and being able to carry on that tradition.
And Lexi, how special is that? Because not a lot of women's sports. I mean, you guys have the record for attendance, you know, and the fans that come. And what's crazy is I looked up some of the numbers, and you know, statistically, year in and year out, the numbers of fans that come to volleyball matches in Nebraska would be in the top 5 of women's basketball across the nation, and their arenas are way bigger. So just the support that you guys have here, how special is that as a freshman coming in, knowing you're going to get to have that kind of support?
Yeah, it's so special. It's almost like hard to wrap your head around that, like, that many people are like supporting you and coming to like watch you, and it's just amazing how like bought in the whole state is here. And I don't know, it's truly special, and I can't wait to be a part of it.
And, you know, for a lot of freshmen, a lot of, you know, athletes these days with the transfer portal, given, you know, the option for some of these older players to come back and have another year, maybe some players would leave and or the transfer portal want to go somewhere else. Why were you guys kind of locked in and wanted to stay here and continue to fight to have some playing time with even some of the greats that are coming back?
I think we're pretty excited just to be a part of the program and just the culture here. And I think having all those players come back just creates more competition, and it just kind of helps us be better and just get to know them. And it's just really cool experience that we get to like be friends and be teammates with such amazing athletes, and just people like Lauren and Lexi and all them. It's just super cool to be like on the same team as them. So I think it's a really cool opportunity.
Yeah, and talking with some of the staff, they said you guys are not scared of any of that competition either, any of the freshmen coming in, that you guys are ready to come in and battle and kind of accepting the challenge. What is your mindset going in, knowing that you're playing against some of the best players in the country here at Nebraska?
Yeah, I mean, we're all, like, the team is just all super close. So at the end of the day, I think we're all just happy to, like, get to play with each other and compete and hopefully go for, like, a national championship. And I think it'll help everyone grow as, like, an athlete and as teammates, just, like, being in that environment of, like, such good athletes, like, consistently every day.
Iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah.
What's the workouts been like? Because we were hearing about its edge, right? Bringing the edge back, and of course, you guys were here, and you were here, right? In the spring, or the last season. But talking about bringing the edge back to Nebraska volleyball. So how has that been? How have the workouts been, Lindsay?
They're intense. Yeah, it took a couple weeks to get into shape for them, but yeah, I mean, it's 2.5 hours every single morning, like working out just straight. Like we lift, we run, we do agility, we run stadiums, we do all this stuff. So yeah, we're really putting in the work. So we're hoping to see the result this season.
Lexi, how was that for you, getting to kind of have the experience of coming in and even though it wasn't a normal season, but kind of get a feel for how things go around here?
I think it helped a lot, just like kind of getting the feel for managing like time in school and volleyball and all that, but then also just getting to see what practices and lifts are like and kind of get a little sneak peek of like what it's actually going to be like when it comes to like our time, and just even building relationships with the team and getting that little head start. I think it really helped a lot.
And Lindsay, you're wearing Lexi's sweatshirt. She'll be happy for that. She came on the show the first night we had our debut on July 1st, and it's really cute. But NIL for you guys, how has that been coming into it as freshmen, knowing that all these doors are kind of open? I just took you guys from a meeting, and you're talking about some of this NIL stuff. How has it been, being that you kind of already get to be on the ground floor with this as freshmen?
I think it's a really cool opportunity, you know, coming in and just having so many new things happening for us just as freshmen. I think just having that ability and that opportunity is just going to be really exciting for all of us to experience. So,
and as Nebraska fans, like we've all talked about, the support that's here, it's got to be pretty exciting as an athlete and NIL and all this world to know that, I mean, there's not a lot of places that support their athletes like here, right, Lexi?
Yeah, I think we're in a great place. Like, it's just like you said, the fan base is amazing, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities for a lot of athletes here at Nebraska to like use their name. And so I think it is a great opportunity. We're all kind of new to it, so we haven't really done much, but yeah, I think over the years, like, it'll really be a special thing for a lot of people.
And Lindsay, for you?
Yeah, I think it could be like a little bit intimidating, like kind of you're just like thrown into this world of like all these stuff and don't really know a lot. But I think the support staff here has like been really good in helping us through everything. So not only just being a freshman on this like new team and having that, but also having everybody there to support us through everything has been really cool.
Now that we're getting back to normal and you're going to get to actually experience a regular, I guess, college experience now that we get through COVID, what's the one thing you're looking forward to the most being a college freshman?
Oh, freshman. I think just the fact that we get to go to in-person classes, I think a lot of people took that for granted before COVID because like when all of last season was online classes, and I think it's just like a kind of hard for some people. So being able to get to go to in-person classes this fall, I'm just really fortunate for that.
What about for you, Lexi?
Well, with the volleyball, I'm just really excited to see that gym packed again and to hopefully get to play in front of like that many people here. I think that's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah, I mean, I would say about the same things. We definitely did take that for granted, just having in-person classes, meeting new people, and just kind of, I feel like the whole college experience was just absent last semester for us because we didn't really get to meet anyone, and we were just, I mean, it was obviously amazing to meet the whole team and just be a part of that, but I think just going to in-person classes and going to a game where it's like tons of fans and just having that experience is what is really important, and I think I'm super excited to have that back to normal, so.
And the red and white scrimmage coming up, nowhere else in the country either do you put tickets on sale and they go as quickly as they do here, right? That's got to be exciting right around the corner.
Yeah,
so exciting.
Yeah, we're so excited.
That's everyone keeps telling me, wait till you go and experience a match in Devaney. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. Thank you guys for coming in and spending some time, and we look forward to. We had a lot of people that were watching you guys, even overseas when you're playing for Team USA, and you got a lot of support, a lot of fans already. They can't wait to watch you play in Devaney. So thank you, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you
so much.
Greg, it was crazy the amount of support that people were watching them when they were playing, you know, across the world and texting in and tweeting in to us during the shows when they were playing. There was a lot of interest in following them. The future, I mean, it's already been solid, but with those three, the future is bright. And then the rest of that class is really impressive.
Going to be a loaded team. Can't wait for that season to get going. They start a little bit later than football does with their practice session, so they're still about 10 days away from the first practice, even though they have their first match the night before Husker football begins on the 28th of August. Great stuff talking to those three young ladies. Can't wait to watch their careers progress here at Nebraska. Our Sports Nightly Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. When we come back, Dr. Brett Woods, who is the Assistant Director of Psychology for the Nebraska Athletic Department, will join us. We'll talk about mental health. It's certainly been a buzzword today with the Simone Biles story going on in the Olympics. We'll get into that conversation next.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts. Nebraska Athletics are hiring event staff for the 2021 home football season. Our #1 requirement, be passionate about Husker football and ready to provide the ultimate fan experience for the greatest fans in college football. As part of the event staff, you serve Husker Nation and check out live game action inside Memorial Stadium. Apply right now and help kick off the Husker football season by working the Garth Brooks concert. For more information and to apply, visit huskers.com/event staff. Go Big Red.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard. And thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
Touchdown, Nebraska! If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics.
Kaboom! Wow!
You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, radio advertising, digital and social media, and more.
Got it!
Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. Nebraska is one of the best schools in America for student Fulbright scholars. 2021 marks the fourth time that the university has been named a top producing institution by the Fulbright program. Of the 30 Huskers who applied this past year, 10 were offered the prestigious Fulbright. An additional 16 Huskers were named semifinalists.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
Buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you here on a Tuesday night. The story that has rocked the world came out of the Olympics early this morning with Simone Biles removing herself from the team competition, and we thought a great chance for us to get into a topic that we don't talk a lot about on Sports On It. A lot of people don't, and it's shame on us for not bringing this up more, and that is mental health. And we're delighted to have with us tonight Dr. Brett Woods, who's the Assistant Director of Psychology for the Husker Athletic Department. First of all, thanks for coming in. I'm glad we're getting into this topic tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate you inviting me here and to talk about a much-needed kind of conversation around mental health. Like you said, I think we don't talk about it enough, and I think the Simone story today really opened up kind of the channels and the floodgates to really have much-needed conversations around mental health.
I want to get your reaction because we all had an immediate reaction when we heard this story today. What was yours?
Well, I think first and foremost, when you think about her pouring her heart and soul into this for years upon years, and the pandemic, I think some people have spoken to that too, about that layer of everything being delayed and having to train really hard, and then having it kind of being at a place where you don't feel like you can compete, you're not yourself. I think I'm devastated for her, like that it went down like this, and I think some of her former teammates spoke to how they were sick to their stomach hearing the story, but at the same time, the courage it takes to really open up and be vulnerable and talk about mental health, because she could have very easily just been vague and kind of avoided talking about the mental health aspect of it. So really proud of her for doing that.
Yeah, and I've seen some, some former gymnasts tweeting about how dangerous it could be, her putting herself in that situation as well. And gymnastics has historically been a sport where you don't talk about that. You just do what you're told. You go out there and you kind of a little bit robotish, right? And, with the way that Team USA and USA Gymnastics has kind of transferred and changed over the last few years, how important is that for her to kind of speak up and say, no, we're going to continue to change and you can stand up for yourself?
Yep. I have a couple thoughts to that. One, on the physical side of it, I mean, kind of in my job as a psychologist, one of the things that I know is kind of the connection between the brain and the body. And we know that when someone's mental health is kind of being affected by a tremendous amount of stress, is going to affect your reaction time. If you're on a 6-inch beam and you're flying through the air, that becomes a safety issue. And I'm glad that she brought that up, because I think sometimes as fans, as spectators of the sport, we don't recognize that connection between mental health and how it affects our performance. The second part of it is I think she's a great model for starting a conversation around mental health. You saw that with Naomi Osaka in women's tennis. You saw that with Michael Phelps a few years ago, kind of in swim. And I think that it takes a lot of courage to have that conversation and speak very openly and candidly about it.
And it's important to have that conversation,
Yep.
right? I mean, that's what kind of continues to break down these barriers. There's such a, misconception about mental health and, maybe they're soft, maybe they should just toughen up a little bit. But that's not the case. And the more we talk about it, the more more accepting it is, right?
Yep. And she really, I think, for kind of future generations of young athletes, gave them permission to be open. Because I think when we're young, we look to those people in the sport community to kind of tell us what we can talk about and what we can't. And I think she's normalizing a conversation around mental health.
Again, visiting with Dr. Brett Woods, who's the Assistant Director of Psychology for the Husker Athletic Department. Take us inside your world. Take us inside what you do. How do you forge a conversation and relationship with these athletes that are on campus?
Yep, that's a big part of, you hit the nail on the head, relationship. I think we're very fortunate here at the University of Nebraska to have 5 licensed mental health providers, which allows us to go to practices, to see athletes in the training room, to see them at the training table, to see them kind of at games and start the conversation. Because when I was playing football in college way back when, we didn't really have access to someone that did what I do currently. And I think I would have been intimidated just to go out of my own way to start a conversation when I probably needed to talk to someone. So I think it's the accessibility, it's building relationships, face to a name. I can talk to this person. I know that it can be confidential, and we can talk about really important and meaningful conversations. And I think that's the big part of it, is access, availability, and just being around, building those relationships.
How much help do you get from the coaches here? Do they introduce you to the teams? Take me kind of through that process.
Yep. So for the teams that I've worked with, men's and women's basketball and baseball, very early on in the season, I'm introduced to the team. I get to talk to kind of my role with the team in terms of providing mental health services. And I'm also trained on the performance psychology work, so helping athletes with focus and concentration, managing stress and pressure of kind of competing in front of large audiences. So I'm very blessed that with our coaching staff here, they're very integral into seeing me as a part of their staff.
It seems to be, since I got here, a lot of people have mentioned the work that you guys do, and a number of athletes have really benefited from the services that you guys provide. How much on the cutting edge do you feel like Nebraska has been? You said there's 5, and not a lot of places have that kind of staff, right?
Yep. So in 2013, I'm going to go back a little bit. They had a mental health task force. Brian Hainline, who's the chief medical officer at the time, wanted to go around the country and ask student athletes, what are the biggest barriers to you being the best student athlete you can be? As you might imagine, their overwhelming response was, we're stressed out and we're sleep deprived. From that, we kind of created a best practices of how do we meet the mental health needs of our student athletes. That's why we have jobs today, but I think what we're trying to do is get to a place where our positions are seen very similarly to athletic trainers. Each team has their own designated sports psychologist or licensed mental health provider, because what we do is an integral part to, I think, the performance and the well-being of our student athletes.
No doubt. John Cook has glowingly talked about your department and how much you all have meant to the success of their program moving forward. Let's dive into social media. You're not nearly as old as I am. You went to college in the early 2000s. But at that point in time, Twitter wasn't around, Instagram wasn't around. How difficult is it now growing up in that world, particularly when fans, boosters, supporters, classmates can interact with you through a DM or any kind of Instagram?
I think when I was playing, you could shut it off. You only got or saw those comments in the newspaper. Or toward the end of my career, I think Twitter was kind of becoming a thing, but I wasn't on it. Now there's 24/7 access to people giving their opinions, to sharing their feelings. And I think it's hard sometimes when you think about 18 to 22-year-olds and how their brains are developing and kind of figuring themselves out and wondering how other people are viewing them. It's that fine line between I'm curious what other people are saying about me, but how do I shut that off? And when you have instant access at 2 o'clock in the morning, I can just hop on my phone and scroll through Twitter. People are making comments. I can't even imagine what it's like for the student athlete today to have to deal with it.
What advice do you give them?
Well, I think it's more of an individual approach. I think going back to Simone Biles, I don't know kind of what her coach is, and maybe she was working with sports psychologists. I think one is that pressure at her level and at this level is unavoidable. I think it's a matter of what's the best way for you to deal with it? I think for some people that's, I'm going to completely turn it off. Like after a game, I'm not going to get on social media because I just know for me mentally that it would wreak havoc and I couldn't fall asleep at night. So I think you really have to take kind of an individual approach. Some people thrive under it. I think some people really love kind of using that as a motivating factor. So it's not like a one-size-fits-all approach.
And not everybody's wired the same, right? I mean, I work with Baker Mayfield. He was fueled by that hate and still is, put stuff up on his bulletin board, but not everybody is like that. How important is it for people to remember, well, first of all, they're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. Beyond the social media, you never know what these kids are going through. And I know you guys have had experiences with some of these athletes that they've battled some really tough situations outside of school, outside of their athletics.
Yep. So it's interesting because we were talking earlier about this, of the story that we don't know. That when you see someone perform on the television, you go to a game, is you see that version of them, but you don't see what happens behind the scenes. You don't know what their life stresses are, what their family situation's like. And I think given our roles and positions, we hear those stories. And it can take a toll when you have 90,000 fans in the stands, and some are cheering for you and some are cheering against you, and some are saying things that can be really hard to take. I think it can take a toll on you personally. You carry that with you when you go home. And I don't think sometimes people outside of the culture of sport get the toll that it can take on you.
And then, or what they're going through, when they go home or have to deal with big losses or depression, things that out of their control that they're dealing with on top of everything else.
Yep. And when you think about getting to this level, obviously you're very, very talented and you're under a bigger microscope. And I think even like when you get to the national level and you're competing for USA and you're talking about hundreds of millions of people, billions of people who are watching your every move and what you're doing. And so to your point is like everything's scrutinized to a different level, and a loss, like it could be devastating.
Again, visiting Dr. Brett Woods, who's the Assistant Director of Psychology for the University of Nebraska Athletics. She even tweeted something, I think 2 nights ago, about she felt the pressure of the world on her shoulders. You kind of saw it coming a little bit, shouldn't we? Or can you pick up signs like that? Can you pick up with the athletes you work with, I need to spend a little extra time with this person or that person?
Yeah, and you could start to see that. Like when they're not acting themselves, they might start to withdraw. Their energy levels might be different. They're not talking as much to their friends and family. But I think one of the things that sometimes goes unrecognized is we could be really good at masking too.
Yeah.
And I've talked to a lot of people who on the surface, they look like they're the all-American story, everything's going great. But again, to your point about like we don't know really what's going on below the surface, those are the people we need to check on too. It's not always a visible thing.
I think what might be interesting too, you talked about the performance of the focus and the concentration. It's not just about dealing with the heavy stuff like we've been talking about. It's also and we've heard professional athletes talk a lot about how sports psychology has benefited certain things of how they approach a certain game or competition as well.
Yep. I think a big part of what we do is come out with kind of an individualized routine or training plan. Part of that is how you focus. And I think part of the conversation right now about the Olympics is these young women were training in front of large groups, and all of a sudden there's really nobody in the stands. That matters. Like, how do I adapt from going from a very loud arena to now it might be very quiet? Because I was training for 15, 20 years in this certain context and environment. All of a sudden I've got to make an adjustment on the fly. And that takes an incredible amount of focus and intentional, deliberate kind of training. And that's where we can kind of come in as a sports psychologist.
Husker athletes had to deal with that last year, right?
Exactly.
Empty Memorial Stadium, empty
Greg, you
PBA.
had to deal with that. Calling games. You should have gone over there.
It was really bizarre.
Well, and I'm originally from Kansas City. And the first time I came to a Nebraska football game, sitting in the stands, the tunnel experience, I'm getting goosebumps. Like, I'm not thinking, like, what's it like now with no one in the stands?
Right.
And you're trying to create an environment where you're trying to pump up the athlete. Like, that's a whole different type of conversation, right?
Scott Frost said last week in media days, he said, I think our home games hurt us because we didn't have what the guys were used to having when they came out of that tunnel.
Yeah, because you train for a certain set of contexts, and that's completely different. So I agree. I can't wait to have that back, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for Jessica to experience that.
I'm so excited.
We're headed in the right direction, aren't we? We're making progress. You have to be proud of your industry right now in the headway we've made in the last 10 years.
Yes, and like I was mentioning earlier, I'm hoping that we get to a point where, one, we respect her comments about mental health just like we would for physical health. If it was a torn ACL or if it was a torn rotator cuff, we would respect the fact that she has to sit out to take care of that. I'm hoping that this conversation pushes that narrative forward where we can respect and value that she needs to take care of her mental health. I think she's a great model, too, to future generations in that regard.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate
awesome.
Appreciate you joining in on a very important topic that this allowed us to do that. We probably should have done it before. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Dr. Brett Woods with us here on Sports Sunday. Need to take a break? If you have some thoughts about that, our phone lines and text lines are open at 402-413-2400. More of the show coming up.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Go where the summer leads you during the Season of Discovery sales event at Woodhouse Mazda. With a full lineup of CUVs, we are sure to have one for you. From the 2021 Mazda CX-30 to the family-friendly Mazda CX-9, our sales staff is here to help find the perfect model for you. With a suite of features, you can expect more with Mazda at a price that is good for you. Test drive one today at one of our 2 convenient Woodhouse Mazda locations in Bellevue or Omaha, or shop online today.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
Back to adventures in technology. Oh no! Our IT hero is dangling from a mountain of open IT tickets, ready to plunge into the abyss of overtime. But wait! It's Marco's Managed IT to the rescue with a lifeline of 24/7 network and user support. Our IT hero is saved! A quick selfie with Marco's Managed IT team, and our hero is back to work. For more successful Managed IT adventures, go to marconet.com.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card. Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
Silent here on a Tuesday night. Want to be a part of this one? 402-413-2400. How fun was that? That was a really good segment. I hope that was informative for people to hear from Dr. Woods.
It's so important. And, you know, one of the things that I'll be doing moving forward is doing some feature stories. And I've done a lot of it in the past. And there are a lot of athletes that, you know, don't share what they're going through, but you just don't have any idea what they're going through off the field and how that affects everything that they're going through. And it is very real, and it does affect how you perform. And not everybody is wired the same way that they can just turn it on and off. So it's such an important conversation. And again, the more we talk about it, the more maybe it's okay, and people can be okay with talking about it.
Well, and you brought up a great point too about the gymnastics is not, it's not golf and tennis where you continue to play, you're not going to hurt yourself. You can hurt yourself if you're not right on one of those apparatuses.
We just saw the replay of Simone Biles, and it talked about, they said that it looked like she got lost in the air, and then when she just landed, you could really hurt yourself. Yeah. You're flying through the air. Some of those, fly off the beam. It's very, very dangerous, and she looked really shook, and she said she was shook. And, you just can't put yourself in that kind of situation where you could do serious damage.
You bet. Let's go to the phones. Let's head up to Minnesota. And Tim, good evening, Tim. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. I just happen to remember, and I don't know if you remember this, anyone from the 80s, but there's a player who, a Husker actually, who took his life in the off season, and that was just a really sad thing. So absolutely things like a psychologist can have an impact. Also, I think for some people now, I know it doesn't happen with it. It's not the case for everyone, but even having someone like a chaplain, sometimes that's a good go-to.
Sure.
So, and I think that Nebraska's made, a lot of steps, having certain people like that. I think of, when a player doesn't get enough playing time, how huge something like that can be, having that resource. I think back to maybe Brooke Beringer and Eric Couch. One other thing really briefly, and then I'll just hang up, I guess, and listen to you. Really encouraging to hear not only about the depth of the offensive line from last night, but especially at center. And I would have been curious even to know about incoming freshmen who might be candidates, because it's not as easy to find someone like that. Recruit, just centers. Maybe they do, but find someone who can do that. So that was just encouraging to hear about.
Great. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it. Yeah. And we talked about it last night. I mean, Jessica had a great conversation with Cam Jurgens. I mean, he's got to clean up the snaps. And I thought Greg Austin did talk about some depth at that position and working some guys like Norrie and Hickson at that backup spot at center. And it's up to Cam to be good. I mean, he knows it. He gets it. He understands it. I think he was better the last couple of games last year, but he can't be off of that. And your comment about the gentleman in the 80s, that's what Dr. Woods was saying in the last segment. He goes, 20, 30 years ago, you didn't talk about these things. It was a hidden demon that nobody wanted to talk about. And Jessica, I'm just glad we've gotten to the point in our society now where it's acceptable to bring up that you're struggling with something mentally.
No doubt. I mean, and again, that was one of the first things that I kind of had heard about when I first got here is, you hear about the nutrition and the Husker Power and all these things that, Husker Vision and the things that Nebraska's been very innovative on. And I really feel like that's another area, the psychology department that Nebraska's really been good about being at the forefront of and opening their doors and making it available for student athletes that, hey, it is okay and you're going to go through some things, and a coach is not a specialist in that. The staff that they work with, they're not specialists. These doctors are, and these psychologists are, and they, you need to go talk to somebody. That's okay. Here, we got somebody for you. That's so important.
Right. And we didn't get into it with Dr. Woods, but all the professional teams have done it. Professional golfers, tennis players, they all have these mental coaches now because they know it's equally as important to be good physically as it is mentally.
And it's not just about, the depression and the anxiety and the mental health issues. It's also about, hey, what do I need to do to focus on my putt, on this situation?
Right.
Or when, I'm gone through this big slump at the plate, how can I address that mentally? Things like that. He talked about the crowd, the way that you change your focus in certain situations when you are accustomed to doing things one way, it could totally throw off your game. How do you change your focus and your concentration so that you are better prepared for whatever situation you might be in to still be at your best?
You bet. On our text line, Mark said Diedrich Mills was very open about how helpful mental health counseling was in Nebraska. He was, and I'm glad Dr. Woods brought him up as well. That's a guy that just finished playing for the Huskers 6 months ago. So these Dr. Woods, Brett Haskell, that whole department doing some really good work for Husker athletics. And I'm a little bit ashamed we haven't had one of them on before tonight, so I'm glad we're able to bring that to you here on the show tonight. All right, phone lines are open for you, 402-413-2400. Back with our final segment of tonight's show next.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
There is no better way to support your Huskers than becoming a season ticket holder. And a limited number of Nebraska football season tickets are on sale now. Secure your seat in Memorial Stadium for head coach Scott Frost's fourth season at the helm as the Huskers play host to Buffalo, Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa, and more. Now is your chance to become part of the storied tradition that is Husker football. To purchase season tickets, call 1-800-8-BIG-RED. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard. And thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. A new grant from the U.S. Department of Agriculture is supporting Husker research in the study of multi-robot systems in ag settings. The almost $500,000 grant was awarded through the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture to Professor Santosh Pitla. Pitla and his team will use the funds to further their research in the use of unmanned ground vehicles and drones on the farm.
Buckle up and put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Final few minutes of our program here on a Tuesday night, 402-413-2400. On our text line, John said, will the players be receiving a percentage of ticket sales? If not, do you think we'll see lawsuits to address that? I think that'd be a hard case to make, that they need to get a cut of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, NFL, NBA players, they don't. So I don't think that would be something that would be coming because, I mean, I don't think you make that. I mean, I think that you're getting your scholarship, right? I mean, I think that counts for something, but maybe somebody challenges that in a court of law. I don't know. I could. If the thing is there's so many college athletes, and how do you justify? I mean, I guess it depends on which school, what your gate is, but like some of these schools that might not have anybody going to their games, how do you get around that?
Right, exactly. All right, Olympics tonight. NBC's showing what we all have known about for the last 14 hours. All the suspense is gone from the women's gymnastics tonight, but if you want to go check out that, Jordan Larson and a couple of those Huskers, Justine Wong-Aranches and Kelsey Robinson, they're now 2-0. They beat China today, the number 3 ranked team in the world. So good start for USA Volleyball.
What would you do differently if you're running NBC? You just would do it live in the morning?
I would have shown it live, and then I would have reshown it again tonight.
See, but I fully believe like the sports like gymnastics and some of the swimming, you're going to get the viewers. Just show it live in the morning
I agree.
and then show highlights. But they're going through right now acting like it happened. It's happening right now and everybody knows what's happened.
Right. They've gotten fortunate because it's 14-hour time difference, so it's 9:53 in the morning over there. They're putting the swimming finals in the morning over there so that they are live in prime time here. So Ledecky and all those swimmers, we're seeing those finals live.
Another thing you have to do mentally if you're used to swimming at night.
Flip it, because they're doing the prelims at night and the finals in the morning.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. Yeah.
So if you're used to, if you're a swimmer or a competitor
they
that's
swim
used
a lot
to,
in the morning, though, don't they?
Well, you
A lot of
normally do
swimming
your
workouts.
heats in the morning, and then but if that's your routine, you know that you're used to having the big competition at night, that might be something that you got to tweak
It
mentally.
could be. Yeah, it could be. You're right. That's probably something some of them had to
Sports
to deal with
psychology
it.
they had to go talk to their sports psychologist about.
And they're dealing with no crowds too. I mean, it's just totally different. Not having any of that going on today. We're 2 days from fan days. We're 3 days from practice beginning. How about that?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Huskers will start practice on Friday. The players, I saw a couple more walking around the stadium today than I did yesterday, and I think we'll see more tomorrow. And then fan day on Thursday. First workout will be Friday morning for them. I also saw a couple Husker soccer players. They must be taking pictures today. I saw them walking around in uniforms.
They've been set up there, and I think getting all the new freshmen in. I think there's a couple baseball freshmen that were walking in the other day I think they were going to the sports science lab. And
were they? Up or above us.
So they're starting to file in. What day does classes start around here?
I think it's the 23rd.
Yeah,
is the first day of school. So the second session of summer school is wrapping up maybe this week, and then there is a graduation in August, and then the first day of the fall semester, I believe, is the Huskers open on the 28th, 23rd, whatever that Monday is, first day of class.
Wow.
So it'll really pick up a lot more traffic around
I won't
campus.
be able to find parking as easily.
You will not. It will get a little bit more crowded in and around here. All right. Gonna go home and watch the end of this?
Yeah, I guess I'll see what the reaction is. Maybe they got an exclusive with Simone. I don't know. Maybe they got some insight on what's to come.
Could be, because she doesn't compete for, I think, 2 more days before the individuals get cranked up.
Another comment that about NBC and the coverage that I had heard is why they didn't put softball on. They haven't really been showing that in prime time much, or where it's easily accessible.
They've been putting a lot of that on USA.
And we've seen how popular it was. Look, it was the highest. It was so highly rated. The ratings every night for the Women's College World Series. There's interest in it, and they I don't know, that it wasn't easily accessible.
Right. I would think the ratings for USA Soccer would be bigger.
Yeah, but
I would guess.
They're not on.
No,
they haven't put them on primetime either.
That's because their matches are in the middle of the night. So, they played at 3 a.m. last night. You didn't get up for that.
I didn't.
Did you?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't.
Good.
And I had a hard time getting up this morning, and by the time I got up, the news had already
The world had
broken.
changed. Yeah, the world had changed. Great show tonight. Hope you enjoyed that one. Very important conversation that we have with Dr. Brett Woods, the Assistant Director of Psychology for Husker Athletics. We appreciate him coming in and touching on a very difficult topic to talk about, but an important one for us to get into. Good show tonight. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks to Andrew, to Mike, to Jessica, and all of you for listening tonight. Back here again tomorrow. Another 2 hours of Sports Nightly headed your way. We'll only be one sleep away from Fan Day. How about that, folks? Good night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402